Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be chewing gum and I'm going to answer a lot of the questions that people posted in the comments of my last video. This was a request to do kind of a Q&A, and so I'm going to do that today. And chew gum, and this will be soft spoken. I'm going to chew this Trident bubble gum today, and let's just get started. Okay, so I'm just going to start with the most recent comment and kind of work my way down. I've got my laptop pulled up, and so I can just kind of look through as I go. Okay, so this question says, why don't you make more videos? First of all, thank you so much. I'm glad that you enjoy them enough to want more. The truth is, like, honestly, I would like to make more videos. When I started back this channel, I know that there are just a very few videos that I uploaded years and years ago, and I wasn't really plugged into the channel. But besides that, when I started being active on my channel was really right at the time that we were starting IVF. And so my life, I think I started kind of making these again when, like, in July of 2022. And we kind of started everything that month. Possibly August. And so really there hasn't been a time since then that I have just like felt 100%. And so the best time for me to make these videos is when my son is napping, because in the evenings I really like to just have that time with my family. And even after my son goes to bed, like, that's kind of time for my husband and I to hang out together. And so, like, I very rarely make a video when he's home, just because I want to just have that time together. So typically I make videos during the week when my son is napping. And I can feasibly make more than one video per week, but because I haven't felt my best, I typically try to get some rest during that time. Or take care of things that I can't do when he's awake. And so I've prioritized making sure, for the most part, that I get one video uploaded a week. But that's the main reason, is just it not being like as high on the priority list. Like, I've made the priority of doing at least one a week, but that's why. I would like to do more than one a week. That has been kind of something I've thought about a lot about. But I'm not going to commit to that, mainly because life is about to get a lot more crazy when the twins get here. So bear with me. I would like to eventually start doing more than one video per week. Consistently. Sometimes I do upload more than one, but it's not consistent. Anyway, long answer to a short question, but that's the main reason why. Like when in my first trimester plus of being pregnant with the twins, I was so sick that it was honestly hard for me to even get one up a week. I still tried for the most part to make it happen, but anyway, all that to say, life changed pretty drastically as soon as I started making these videos. And so that's just kind of what I allowed myself was, okay, you can do one a week, like you can make that happen. But I didn't want to put too much pressure on myself to do more than that if I didn't feel like it. Okay. What is your favorite music to listen to, group, and genre? I have a pretty wide range of music that I like. I am not super picky, but I would probably say that my favorite type of music is like what should I call it? I'll just tell you a few groups that I love. I really love Mumford and Sons. It's maybe the best concert I've ever been to. The Head and the Heart. They're not as well known, but I love them. The Lumineers. Kind of that folky music, kind of. But I like some poppy stuff too. So I'm definitely not opposed. Like I listen to Taylor Swift. I listen to Shawn Mendes. People like that are more poppy. But like my favorite type of music is leans more towards like those other groups, that kind of feel. I don't know, I feel like sometimes some of that music can be really meaningful, the lyrics, and I just resonate with that, so I really love it. How tall am I? I'm about 5'7". Who taught you how to blow bubbles and pop your bubble gum, and how old were you? I don't remember anybody teaching me to do that. Yeah. Like I've said in previous videos, like my mom was anti-bubbles. So like we learned not to blow bubbles around her, not to chew our gum loud. So I guess it was just ultimately like self-taught. I don't know. I don't have a memory of someone teaching me to do that. But my earliest memories of ASMR were very early, like kindergarten, first grade. I remember liking the sound of gum chewing. What types of jobs have I had? My first job was when I turned 16. My parents gave me a car for my 16th birthday. And the deal was that I had to pay for half of it. So I had to get a job right away and start making like monthly payments towards my car payment, which I thought was a great way to do it. I was thrilled to have a car. I was more than happy to do it. I worked at Sonic. It was my first job. And so I really worked in food a lot. I think at a lot of restaurants, you're not allowed to be a waitress until you're like at least 18. So I was a hostess at restaurants in high school, and I also knew this lady fairly well who opened up a little boutique shop, so I worked for her some in high school. And then in college, it was mostly food service. So when I went, one of the jobs I had in college was like working in like the admissions office, just doing like paperwork and stuff. But then on top of that, I usually was a waitress somewhere. Yeah. And then after college, I've talked before about how I lived in China for a year and taught English there to university students. And when I came back, I taught English, high school English. And that is mostly what I have done career-wise, is taught high school English. Once I started staying home, I just did little odd jobs. Like I've kept kids a couple times a week, you know, and I've also taught yoga and done like some online grading and stuff like that. Just as little odd jobs, but nothing like full time since I've been staying home. So yeah. If you could live anywhere in the world other than where you live now, where would it be? That's a great question. So that question is harder now that I have a kid and have kids on the way, because I want to be close to my family. But if that was not a factor, if like being close to family was not a factor and I could just live like truly in the place that I want to live, I think I would live in Thailand, because I love it there. It's one of my favorite places I've ever been. And it has mountains, it has the beach. I just loved it so much. And when the whole time I was there, 3 weeks or a month, we just stayed in little cabins or hostels or whatever, tree houses, and like had no air conditioning or anything like that. And I just like, I get used to that so quickly and like thrive in that kind of situation. Obviously with kids, it would be a million times different because I was single when I was there. But just based on like beautiful places, climate, stuff like that, I love Thailand. So beautiful. So much to do in nature. Even when you're not close to the beach, you can be in the mountains and have like rivers and waterfalls. And it's just so beautiful. How did you and your husband meet? So he grew up in the same city as my cousin, and like lived with my aunt and uncle's family for a while and stuff in college, and I became like really good friends with that family, my aunt and uncle and cousins. And So we didn't go to the same university, but he would come and visit my cousin who went to the same university as me. And so we became friends. And me and him were friends for years. We would like Skype. I feel like this was before FaceTime. We would Skype and just keep in touch as friends. We got along really well. And then at the time that I was in China, he was a youth pastor and he had done lots of mission trips and stuff. And I was in China doing mission work as well as teaching. And so he we would talk about that while I was there. Like, he would reach out to see how that was going. And then we just made plans to see each other when I got back to the States from China. And after that, we started dating. And then we were living in different states. And after 6 months of dating, he moved to the same city that I was in. And 6 months after that, we got engaged. And 6 months after that, we got married. So it was pretty cool how that happened. The most rewarding thing about being a mother and the most challenging. Yeah, I love being a mom. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me. I waited so long to become a mother. I wasn't sure I would ever be a mom. And that's all I ever wanted. So it's amazing. It actually is a very spiritual experience for me. I don't know. Those of you who are spiritual may resonate with that, but I just feel very like, I don't know, like it's so rewarding to get to experience being a parent, because like in this world, on this side of heaven, like, I don't know, the next question actually kind of ties in with this, because it says, can you tell us more about your relationship with religion? And so much in the Bible, like God ties in like his relationship with us as like a family unit. And so, you know, God talks about us as his children, and it's so cool to get to experience it here on earth, because I feel so many connections to like me being a parent and how much I love my kid, with like me being God's child and how much he must love me. And, you know, as my son hit that stage of like autonomy and like wanting to do what he wants and thinking he knows best, like I've seen a lot of parallels between that and like my relationship with God. And so it's been really eye-opening for me. So spiritually, it's just so rewarding to get to be a mom, and I'm very thankful I get to stay home, that I just get to be with him all the time. And yeah, but it is super challenging. Anybody who's a parent knows how that it's like so challenging. Especially just like in our culture, there's so many like right and wrong ways to do things. And people in our culture can be so opinionated about like what's right and wrong and ways to raise your children. And so it's very stressful, like the decisions that I make, thinking like, am I doing the right thing? Like, is this gonna scar him for life? Like, I have a lot of, I feel a really strong burden as a parent to do the best that I can and, teach my son about the Lord. And if I'm his first encounter with authority on this earth, like making sure that it's a positive experience and that he learns to like honor and respect authority, but also like that I'm honoring and respecting my son. Like, it's tough. That's really challenging for me to know the right balance and the right way to do things. I think there are lots of right ways to do things, but I feel that burden a lot, so that's really challenging. But it's still the best thing ever. I'm so thankful that I get to do it. Great questions. What advice would you have for people to know if they're ready to have kids? Whew. That's a tough question, and I don't know that there's like a necessarily like a right answer for that, but I see some of my friends and like different people having kids when their relationship is so unsteady, and I can 100% guarantee you it will only get worse when you have kids. So I think trying to get your relationship, your marriage in a healthy place is very important. Communication is so huge. Like a baby is not going to fix any problems that you have with your spouse. It's going to make it harder. So I think just having a solid foundation as a couple is so important before you start having children. And I think that my husband and I, when we initially started trying to have children, before we even knew we were going to have problems, like if we had gotten pregnant immediately, I think parenthood probably would have been a lot harder on us. Instead, we had to wait 3 more years to have a kid. And, while I wouldn't wish that journey on anyone, I think it was so beneficial for us because we grew so much closer together. And I felt like we were at a really good place to have a child together. So I don't know if that is like the right answer, but that's my perspective. Okay, somebody wanted to know the meaning behind my tattoo. So I don't know if I can even turn it around, but it says it's mountains and it says wanderer. I got that before I was married, and the meaning is just because I love to travel and it's one of my favorite things to do. And I love the mountains and just going different places, so that really resonated with me. How is your Spanish, and have you ever thought about doing a video in Spanish? My Spanish is very bad. So no, I could not do a video in Spanish, unfortunately. I took a few years of Spanish. I wish that I was better at it, so like I can understand a little bit when I hear it, but I cannot speak it. Unfortunately, I wish that I could. Does your husband and or son experience ASMR? So I've actually talked to my husband about this, and his answer for a long time was no. But he found some videos to show me that he found really relaxing recently. They weren't ASMR videos necessarily, although he could find ASMR videos to target that, but of people like cutting up food, vegetables. like packaging stuff up, like putting stuff, he finds that relaxing. I don't think that it gives him like tingles, but he finds it relaxing. My son, my personal thought is that yes, he does have it, because he enjoys like me whispering in his ear, and but I don't know for sure. Time will tell. When you eat mac and cheese, do you use a fork or a spoon? I use a fork. I think I generally choose fork over spoon for most things. Do you sometimes find yourself tapping on objects because of ASMR? Yes, I do. I haven't really thought about that, but yes. Oh no, this is a hard one. If you had to live in a TV show and be part of that world for the rest of your life, what would that be? I had not seen this question ahead of time. Oh, maybe she added to it. Okay. That is a really hard question. I really don't know. I feel like I'm gonna have to really think about that. Wow. There are so many shows that I love that like I would definitely not want to be in that world. So I'm gonna have to say I'll try to think about that one and come back to it, because I truly cannot think of an answer for that. How many siblings? I have two sisters. My favorite food. I am not a picky eater, so I love so many things. I don't think that I necessarily have a favorite food, but my go-to food is like Mexican food. You cannot go wrong with Mexican food. But I don't know about favorite. But I do love it. I love that a lot. I do have a pet. I have a dog. We've had him for 5 years, I guess. And then names. I don't think I'm going to share names right now of my kids. I'll have to think about that if I want to do that. What's your dream vacation and what's your favorite vacation spot you've been to so far? Well, I already talked about Thailand. Thailand and Italy are my two favorite places I've ever been. But as far as like somewhere I've never gone that I would really like to go, this is kind of far out there, but Iceland. I've never been to Iceland, and I know that it's so beautiful there. I feel like I would enjoy going there. Yeah. But dream vacation though, like I would really love to go to either Italy or Thailand with my husband, because he has never been to either of those places. So like if I were to plan a trip right now for my husband and I would probably go back to one of those places, because I would love to experience that with him. Any favorite ASMR channels or favorite triggers? I really like gum chewing. Sometimes I like eating videos. It kind of depends. I like Like when people are sorting things, especially like makeup, like those sounds. I like those sounds, the click clack of like the containers. Favorite channels, I love Angela Bright. She's one of my favorites. Who is another go-to person for me? I really haven't been listening to ASMR videos recently. I don't know why. Sometimes I like listening to my ASMR addiction. What's another one? Daily Time ASMR. I've only semi-recently discovered, and I like that channel. Yeah. Somebody posted in what was, in my opinion, a very confusing question. I have no idea, like, what it means, the philosophical and existential implications on the recent developments of the quantum superposition effects being observed at the microscopic level. I have no idea what that means. I'm sorry about that. What's your top favorite book? Well, I have made some videos with Tuesdays with Maury by Mitch Albom. That's one of my favorite books. I love that book. Just from like a life standpoint, how to live a beautiful life. I think it's a beautiful memoir. But I also love, there's a book called In the Wild Light by Jeff Zintner that I read last year and loved it. What else? Oh, The Rent Collector. The Rent Collector is another one of my favorite books. Love the Harry Potter series. Love the Hunger Games. But yeah, those are some of my favorites. Best and worst memories from your 20s. That is such a funny question. Probably my best memories, some of my best memories from my 20s is traveling. I did so much traveling in my 20s. Around the world, all through Europe, Africa, China, Thailand. All of that happened in my 20s. And so I actually don't think since I've turned 30, I've been out of the country. So traveling is those are my best memories. Worst memories is probably just like the infertility stuff, dealing with that. What's going on in my 20s, late 20s. But that would be my recommendation to people who don't have kids yet, is to travel. Because it's just hard. It's just a different experience with kids. It's not bad. It's just a different experience. So I shared already how my husband and I met. Wedding details. We had an outdoor wedding in the backyard of one of his family friends, or his friends. It was beautiful. There were these tall trees. It was on a lake. We set up a tent for like the reception time. We had like this little arch thing, canopy thing that we stood under. It was so nice. I loved it. That was a wonderful day. Who's your hero? I don't know about that one. I guess I should have an answer ready for that question, but my mom is the most obvious answer to me. Silver or gold? Gold. I prefer gold. And I will try to do a blow pop video at some point. Any advice for young women in their 20s? It's a good question. I've already said this, but travel if you can. See things, see the world, make good friends. I feel like you can make lifelong friends in your 20s. And be friends with people who build you up and help you be the best person you can be. Don't be close friends with people who are going to tear you down, because I feel like your 20s is such an important, like, impactful time that you don't need to be moving into adulthood around people like that, because I feel like that can have a long effect on your life. Favorite food growing up? I don't know. Probably Mexican food. What do you do for work? Yeah, so I don't have a full-time job. I teach yoga. I often keep other kids, do little temporary jobs, but I don't have a full-time job. I'm in Tennessee. That's my state. I'm from the South. Have not always lived here, but that's where we live now. Why do ASMR artists start their channel without showing their face? So I don't know for everyone what the answer to that is. I think for me personally, it's just like, I don't know. I feel like even making videos is such a vulnerable thing for me that starting off by showing my whole face was just too much. I feel like I'm getting close to the point where I will feel comfortable showing my face, but I didn't want to do that initially. I just felt it felt too invasive for me. I don't know about everybody else. That's just a personal feeling for me. Yeah, so I'm from the South. Kind of all around. Those were awesome questions. And this was a really long video. I probably should have divided this into 2 videos actually. But maybe you can watch part of it and come back and finish it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. And thank you for the requests. I will try to keep moving through my list of requests. I appreciate it.